Welcome to the RealTea podcast, brought to you by Tennessee REALTORS and sponsored by Rule First, helping you live closer to what matters. I'm your host, Angela Shields. This podcast is created for Tennessee REALTORS to get the tea on all things real estate in Tennessee. We'll bring you engaging conversations with esteemed guests in the real estate industry and cover a wide array of topics, including current events, governmental affairs, education, and legal updates. All right, welcome to the RealTea. I am so excited today because we have Debra Beagle joining us today. Welcome, Debra.
Thank you, Angela. I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you join us. Debra is the CEO, managing broker, and co-owner of the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. And I know you are super busy just with that alone.
Yeah.
You are also so involved at your local association of realtors, at the state association, and at the national association, let alone what we're here to talk about today, which is the RRC, and we're going to get to that in just a minute.
Okay.
So I know you've seen the RealTea because we've talked about that.
Yep.
But we have anytime we have a new guest, we have our traditional question. So you have to be expecting this.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're called the RealTea, and we always ask our first-time guest, what do you take in your teacup?
What do I take?
Today, I know you're taking water.
I'm taking water today, but in my tea, and I love chamomile tea, I'll put just a little bit of honey. I actually have little honey stir sticks that I'll just let it melt and stir in the tea.
And honey is so good for your throat this
good.
Time of the year.
It's sweet and warm. Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. So as I mentioned, you do so much, and I just think that is fantastic for somebody who is as busy as you are to give back to your associations. Yeah. Before we start talking about RRC and what all of that is, I want to ask you the question. First of all, how do you do it? But second of all, why do you give back to the Realtor organization?
So, and as realtors, we know, when we get busy and we just get the job done. So I've always come from a space of giving and serving. And that kind of was instilled at me at a young age. My mom and my family came over from Cuba, many years ago, not by choice. It was, they had their homes taken away from them, their businesses. My grandmother feared for my mom's life and put her on a plane to Miami out of Havana with just the dress she had on. She had to leave her dog behind. When my family came to this country, it was those around them that gave. And work ethic, never taking anything for granted, and helping others. Mm-hmm. I am where I am today because of people that had given opportunities and time to me. And that's just been ingrained from a young age. And I remember as a young girl, in the realtor that helped us buy our first home, and how impactful that was. To live the American dream of home ownership, and those that helped, and I'm here today because of that. And from when I first got my real estate license, I actually was I did commercial transactions originally. No, my degree was in chemistry. I was an environmental consultant, and I did the due diligence in commercial transactions on the environmental with legal and financial. Then eventually rolled into residential. My mother kept saying, "You would be so good at residential real estate," and I wish I had started it at a younger age, because it truly was the right fit for me, and to be able to offer homeownership to others. So
I love your story and have had the opportunity to hear it several times when you've talked about advocacy in particular.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious that you use that passion for real estate, for where you came from, where your family came from, and you are genuine when you talk about it because you understand how important home ownership is. And I know we're not here to talk about advocacy today, but I think it is so important.
And this is Angela, and this is for everyone listening out there. It's the recipe and the ingredients of truly what is the very best real estate advisor in the business. And it's now more important than ever. And I look back, the first committee that I sat on at the local level was RPAC. It was an hour a month, and investing in our industry and home ownership, and that path, coupled with education, which I know we're going to talk about the Residential Real Estate Council, but it is that ingredients. It's the recipe. It is serving, being involved, advocating for home ownership at the highest level of education and service. So when you mix that all up, as a new agent out there, if you're listening to this, or even, and I'm seeing it more and more now too, agents that have been in the business a long time, they're finally coming back and leaning in and investing in RPAC and completing their CRS. They have the transactions now they're adding to their education to be at the front of where this industry is going right now.
That is a great segue. And so let's jump into that. So we hear the acronyms all the time.
Yeah.
The real estate industry, I think, is full of acronyms. And so you are with one of the Institute Society and Councils. We are so excited because you are serving as president-elect. You will be serving as president next year. But you just mentioned it. It's the Residential Real Estate Council, RRC. And they have designations, they have education, but
certifications, we have it all.
Right.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about this institute and Society Council, what they are, what they're made of, why they are there, and what they can do for the members.
Well, and we are a realtor organization.
Yes.
And the gold standard in real estate, which is the CRS, the Certified Residential Specialist. And to achieve that, that's through education and productivity. 60 transactions. Now we have agents that are working towards their 60 transactions. They have joined the council and they are getting their classes done. But again, this is that recipe that I talk about, the mix, it's not just getting letters after your name and adding. It is truly showcasing the highest level of professional in the business that's committed to providing the highest level of service and leading the industry. We're the top 2% of realtors, 1.5 million realtors in education and productivity. So it's something to strive for. I think now more than ever, with AI coming into play and the consumer having a lot of access to information, the advisor, the top level advisor with the most skills and experience is more valuable than ever. There's a lot of stuff, and I just spoke to the Women's Council of Realtors yesterday, as a matter of fact, on the storm. And I want to touch on this because I was following you on Facebook, and this was at the end of January. My home was without power for 11 days.
Oh, that's more than I had.
We had 80-some transactions that were closing that last week of January. We had 36 that we had to move into February. We had, the discussion wasn't coming at us like, interest rates or all the other stuff happening in the headlines. It was, where do we go? What do we do? We have movers. Can we close on houses without power? These were conversations. We had some buyers that wanted to close without, it's not like the power's not on. It's the power's not connected. Right. It's been taken down. So, that is where the true professional steps in and solves problems and handholds. It's not, and what are they going to do about their rate locks? There were a lot, their movers were scheduled. The hotels were full. There was nowhere to stay if they couldn't close. So there were a lot of things that we helped manage that AI can't.
Right.
And that's where the professional that is resourceful and has the skill set and the knowledge and the resources to maneuver through storms is truly valuable right now.
Yeah, it really is about that human touch, and that's prime proof of it right there. That I love that you said that AI cannot do those things. Yeah. Such a good point. So we were talking earlier, and I loved what you told me. You were talking about that Tennessee has one of the largest
concentrations
CRSs. CRSs,
we compete up there with the Floridas and the Californias and the Texases. We're at the top in agents getting their CRS. We have a very active RRC state organization, and that's partnered with Tennessee REALTORs, Greater Nashville, a lot of the boards across the state. So, which I think is important across the board. We just had one of the CRS instructors come into Greater Nashville in January, and our state president, Chris Garrett, came in and got his certification for that class. So, again, Tennessee, even I think 38,000 realtors we have, compared to some of these other states that have hundreds of thousands of realtors, and yet we always are at the top when it comes to education and leaning into being the best.
One of the things that I love seeing the CRS group do is they mentor and they really try to network with our YPN. And it's just so nice to see them kind of reaching and helping the younger generation and showing them the way. I love seeing that.
Yeah, and we started the next generation group within the Residential Real Estate Council. And surprising, out of our almost 200 agents, I have 52 under the age of 30, and I have 3 that have earned their CRS. So very, very proud of those agents that, they already have the transactions, they got the education, they saw the value of being able to talk to their clients and say, I'm at the highest level in the industry as a professional at an under 30 age.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Right. So what are some of the benefits if you belong to RRC? What are some of the benefits, some of the networking and type things that you do?
And that, when we look at the Residential Real Estate Council and our pillars, we are a global organization and truly a great networking organization. I think, when you go to refer someone to another part of the country, I go to CRS.com and find a CRS because I want to work with someone in another city that believes in our industry at the level that I do. So, again, my business has grown by being a member of the organization. And in Tennessee, we don't have any state income tax here. So we have a lot of people moving here. So making those connections outside the state and knowing, and having the incoming referrals as well as the outgoing referrals, that's a huge network. And then again, the courses that we're offering through RRC are, we're always bringing in new, looking at where the market is right now and offering the education that's relevant for the industry at that moment in time. Yeah.
Okay. So Debra, you mentioned that by being a member of RRC that you have that huge referral network. Are there other things that you see once somebody has the CRS that they benefit from obtaining that designation?
Well, Angela, one of the biggest things with becoming and earning your CRS designation is your income increases. Our CRSs are 4 to 5x in income of a regular realtor.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's considerable. It's 6 figures. But again, we look at the agents that earn their CRS, they have 60 transactions. They have all of the continuing education. They've got the best referral network in the country. So incoming and outgoing clients coming in, that increases your income level. So it is proven those with the CRS earn more than the average realtor.
So it's a big investment.
It's a big investment in your business, and your return on committing to being a CRS, your return income is substantial. So
and so just so that somebody is not being unrealistic, when you set out to get your CRS, on average, how long would it take?
So I'm seeing, and I mentioned we have 3 of our 52 agents that are under 30. They've been in the business 4 years, 4 to 5 years. But again, you have to have 60 transactions, and they earned them last year or the year before. So they were about 3 to 4 years, 20 plus transactions a year, which is, what's the NAR average is 4.
Yeah, so they're busy.
Mm-hmm. They're busy.
And really taking it as a full-time job and getting up.
They're committed to it.
Hitting the ground running.
But it is they're 6 figures, and highly successful agents. Making the commitment to earning the CRS does drive your financial success as well.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Register now for the annual Tennessee REALTORS Fall Conference. Join us in Memphis, Tennessee, September 21st to 24th for industry insights from engaging speakers, CE classes, networking events, and a whole lot of fun. Register before July 17th and take advantage of our early bird pricing. Don't wait. Register now. Visit tnrealtors.com.
I know that you all have conferences.
We do.
You're right.
We have Celebration coming up in Dallas. We held it here in Nashville last year, and it was a huge success. I loved having it in Nashville. I was like, can we just do it in Nashville every year?
Right.
It was so fun. But yeah, this year we will be in Dallas, Texas, September 19th, 20th, and 21st. So at the Fairmont Hotel. Yeah, hopefully I got that one. Yes, Fairmont Hotel in Dallas. And it's a 2-day with the 3rd day pre-conference is 8 hours of continuing education if somebody wanted to come and get the hours.
Okay.
And then, it's 1,000 of the top agents in the country to network and lean into education and community.
So, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears and talk about your service as a leader. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that you see coming up on the horizon for RRC? This is our 50th anniversary of the council. So this year, 2026, is 50 years of the Residential Real Estate Council. And I'm truly excited for the future because I feel we are at a moment in time where we have opportunity to really lead the industry. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate last week at President's Circle at RPAC to have a dinner with Nakia Wright and Sherry Chris, mm-hmm. and talk about ways to do some more in the future as far as how education plays into at the highest level of our realtor organization. So I'm excited about that. But and definitely, I think showing the value and being on this podcast with you, thank you for having me and us here. It's because it's getting the word out that if you truly want to be educated at the highest level and be around top professionals in a community organization where everybody thinks that way, at a high level of productivity, the Residential Real Estate Council is a great place to be. Some of the topics that you might find as part of that education would be what type of topics?
Well, we all know AI.
Right.
And if you know my business partner, Gary Ashton, and I, Gary is a tech guru for 20 years, and he brings in a lot of new tech into our company. So we're beta testing a lot of stuff. And so a lot of the tech companies right now that did one specific thing are now adding more and more. Like, we can do more. We can do it all. So when you have different platforms out there that are changing daily with what they can offer, making the decisions of is there redundancy there in your tech stack? There's so much out there that the AI is giving you, and the ability, staging, for example. We use a company to virtually stage some of our vacant properties. You can now do that for free in ChatGPT. I mean, you can tell it and it will do it, which is interesting. There's just so much available out there too. I think there's a plethora of education, different types, and you can do small nuggets of education. But again, I think, the Residential Real Estate Council, it is a true realtor organization that offers and covers a lot of the different topics. Your question, though, what are some of the topics, especially in the field that I'm seeing right now? Probate is huge, 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 huge. And we brought an instructor in specifically for our company last fall to talk about probate. Death, divorce certification, that was January. That was another big one. Luxury is a huge one. I'm looking forward to bringing in our CRS instructor for luxury here, hopefully this summer. I think those are obviously social media marketing, ways to do things faster, easier, quicker. And but there's a lot of different options out there right now.
And I think just hearing you, it's almost mind-boggling how much there is to learn, that you almost have to continue to stay up on things, because just to your point about technology, it changes so much.
And it's in the last 10 years, I haven't seen the rate of change with technology other than the last 8 months. Like 8 months, 10 years worth of advance.
Sure.
So there's another company that we just partnered with last year that we're using internally that's just every time I log in, I see more and more and new stuff in it. Is Shiloh, which is 24/7 coaching that's integrated into our CRM. So the agents immediately everything gets reviewed for them to see, to help coach them to be better. And the data that's coming, I mean, it is mind-boggling at how much is out there now to help make us better, more efficient, and to leverage our time. But having said all of that, what's interesting too, though, is I see the importance, even more glaring, of being that best advisor in the transaction. And nothing was more apparent than during the storm. Like I mentioned earlier, it's just every storm. Think back. Just go 6 years ago and think back to when COVID started. And we had the tornado 5-6 days before COVID.
Yes.
And Hagen was president, and he was scrambling. He was meeting with it. He's going to give a shout out to Hagen because, he got us as essential services. So we were having to pivot and adapt. And the realtors that were a part of that are still here are who they are today because of all the storms that we've gone through. And then you look, 2021, the agents were miserable because they had to write 15 offers for one buyer to win a house. And I kept telling them, I said, you write 15 offers, you're going to get pretty good at writing offers. You're going to get pretty good at winning if you start winning in writing offers. So with every storm, there is positive things that come out of it that make you better and make you who you are right now. So
they make you sharper.
They make you sharper.
Yeah.
They make you sharper. And I think it's perspective and how you look at everything that you face. Because the interest rates and there's so much noise out there in the media, and and the buyers are waiting for interest rates to come down. And but if you just focus on what you do, the education part, and then truly being the best that you can be, you're going to be able to weather anything.
When you think about, I know we didn't necessarily think about storms. We didn't necessarily think about COVID, all of those type things that popped up on us. But when you think about challenges today that we might face, your agents might face, what do you see on the horizon?
So, and we keep talking about ChatGPT because a lot of people are using it a lot more daily, and they're just uploading and plugging things in. And we kind of talked about this beforehand, but if you're just a normal person out there using ChatGPT, being aware that is open AI. So anything that you're uploading into it is going out into the space, the open space. So as another person using ChatGPT, if you know the right answer, the right questions to ask, it's going to pull anything that's been uploaded out there. And if you're asking specific questions, and one example that I had heard, a couple of weeks ago was not in our state. This is something out in California.
Usually is.
Where the agent had multiple offers, had uploaded 5 contracts, the multiple offers up into ChatGPT and asked it to help summarize and compare the 5 and which would be the best and all of this. But what agents don't realize, and when you do that, and they were just uploading the PDFs for ChatGPT because it'll scan the documents. So they've just uploaded 5 contracts on a specific property out into the open. Now, if somebody else were out there and said, have there been any offers on this property in the last 10 days, it could very well pull those 5 offers. So again, it only does it by the right prompt, but agents need to be aware you cannot be putting stuff out on ChatGPT, and E&O may not cover you on some of these things. But again, just being at the highest level of professional, not doing that. But everybody's using chat. They're using it for translation. So you may have a client that doesn't speak English and they're putting stuff up there, and that might be too where we start educating our clients. Be careful what you put in open AI, because then that's out in the space that anybody could grab it and pull it.
Yes, it's becoming a trusted source of information, almost like the new Google or something.
Yeah, but the data could be old too.
Right.
And the answers that are getting, a lot of companies now, one that Gary and I have been talking about is doing our own closed tier 2 model, large language model, which is a holding tank for our information. So our agents could use it to search for answers within the company, because we have like an agent portal, and those are just different things, again, to make the realtor experience for the agents a little better. So
I would imagine just the one example you just gave, that is challenging for a broker, an office, but also for instructors trying to keep up. When you think about RRC, like the instructors trying to keep up on what are the top topics we need to be making sure we're training on.
Yeah.
So I can't even. Where do you start?
Where do you start? And we have our company meeting each month, and this is where I just look back over the past month of the transactions and what are the things that the agents were facing, and that's what prompted like probate, where the different classes that we've talked about is what are we seeing? Now we're seeing a few more short sales actually happening. We ended up doing a HUD class, a HUD foreclosure class. We brought that out of the attic, so to speak, because that hadn't really been, we hadn't had any for over a decade, more than a decade, I think in 2011 or 2012. So, but they're few, and they were very specific, where somebody either died. That's why probate, I think, is very important. And whoever was living in the home wasn't the owner, or somebody just recently bought and had, for whatever reason, had to sell quickly, and the so negotiating a short sale was something that came up. So
always something.
Yeah.
So if you had to say one thing to our listeners about RRC and why consider RRC, what would it be?
The one thing, well, it's a key ingredient. It's a key ingredient of being the very best of the best and providing the highest level of service. And, at CRS.com, we have just a ton of education, certifications that all go towards earning the CRS, which is the gold standard. And that is so important right now to the consumer. When, again, and it just seems that it does happen, because we have floods, we have tornadoes, and ice storms. Being the best professional that you can be, and being in a network surrounded by those that believe the same and want to take the industry to the future. So it is truly a global, highest level organization, realtor organization, that is an important ingredient to a successful career.
And if someone is listening, it's their first time hearing about RRC, how would they get more information?
CRS.com. Just go to CRS.com, and there are links there on pathways to becoming a CRS. And if you have been an agent for a while and you have the transactions, or you've been in the business over 10 years, we do have pathways for those that are more experienced to earn their CRS as well. So, it's been a key part of my life and my success being a part of this organization. And we're here to lead the industry at the highest level.
And then kind of to wrap up, I'm going to ask you this, putting you on the spot a little bit. I think you can handle it. So again, knowing you are so involved, you just talked about that you had dinner with Sherry and Nakia.
Yeah.
Knowing you are so involved, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say you can't possibly agree with every single thing that you've read, seen over the last few years.
Yeah.
But why? What has compelled you? Why have you stayed involved? Why do you engage as much as you do? And what would you say to others about that maybe don't?
To leave a legacy in this world, it's not so much about building things. It's about building people, I think, and giving opportunity to others, and and having a voice at the table, I think, and opening up spots at the table for others. And I go back to what I said at the beginning, my mom coming over here, my family coming over here with nothing, and those that gave opportunity and helped us to live the American dream. That's why I'm here right now doing what I do. So, big picture, I'll do it till I die. I always will strive to give opportunity to others. I think that's a life goal that won't end. So, and I teach that to my agents. I said, we all have goals throughout our lives of things that we want to accomplish and do. And when you do that, then there's that feeling of success. But always have one goal in there that you will do until you die, because that will keep you going.
So
but I do think, to leave the world a better place than we were born into it, if we can, and offering opportunity to others.
That's awesome. Yeah. It is so clear that you really do care about the industry. And I, for one, appreciate that. I know so many others do as well. We appreciate that you're at the table.
Thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh.
You've opened up many doors for so many too. So.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. But I can tell you we're going to invite you back.
Okay.
So
I would love to come back. I love this. So
because I think there's many other topics that we can talk about, advocacy and all kinds of other things. So, but believe it or not, our time is already come to 30 minutes. So
great.
We don't want to keep you. I know you're busy, but thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Until next time.
All right. And so check out CRS.com and make a commitment to being the very best that you can be and earn your CRS.
And those are great words.
Okay.
So we will make sure that we put the website in the notes. And then I will say one more thing, that CRS is always at our conferences. Like you mentioned, there are chapters at the local associations. So there are so many ways to find out about CRS.
Everybody supports us here, so we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today on the RealTea podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues. Then visit tnrealtors.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes of the RealTea podcast. Thanks for listening.